The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 2. All Religions Are Good. Published in Washington Post, October 28, 1894. Mr. Vivekananda spoke yesterday at the People's Church on the invitation of Dr. Kent, pastor of the church. His talk is the morning was in the morning was regular sermon, dealing entirely with the spiritual side of religion and presenting the true orthodox sect rather original proposition that there is good in the foundation of every religion, that all religions like languages are descended from the common stock, and that each is good in its corporal and spiritual aspect, so long as it is kept free from dogma and fossilism. The address in the afternoon was more in the form of a lecture on the Aryan race, and traced the descent and traced the descent of the various allied nationalists by their language, religion, and custom from the common Sanskrit stock. After the meeting, to a post reporter, Mr. Vivekanand said, I claim no affiliation with any religious sect but occupy the position of an observer, and so far as I may, of a teacher to mankind. All religion to me is good. About the higher mysteries of life and existence, I can do no more than speculate, as others do. Reincarnation seems to me to be the nearest to the logical explanation for many things with which we are confronted in the realm of religion. But I do not advance it as a doctrine. It is no more than a theory at best, and is not susceptible of proof except by personal experience. And that proof is good only for a man who has it. Your experience is nothing to me, nor mine to you. I am not a believer in miracles. They are repugnance to me. They are repugnance to me in matter of religion. You might bring the world tumbling down about my ear, but that would be no proof to me that there was a God, or that you worked by his agency if there was one. He believes it blindly. I must, however, believe in a past and hereafter as necessary to exist of the present. And if we go on from here, we must go in other forms. And so comes my belief in reincarnation. But I can prove nothing, and anyone is welcome to deprive me of the theory of reincarnation, provided they will show me something better to replace it. Only up to the present I have found nothing that offers so satisfactory an explanation to me. Mr. Vivekananda is a native of Calcutta and a graduate of a government university there. He speaks English like a native. Having received his university training in that tongue, he has had good opportunity to observe the contact between native and the English, and it would disappoint a foreign missionary workers to hear him speak in a very unconcerned concerned style of the attempt to convert the natives. In this connection, he was asked what effect the Western teaching was having on the thoughts of the Orient. Of course, he said, no thought of any sort can come into a country without having its effect. But the effect of Christian teaching on the Orient thought is, if it existed, so small as to be imperceptible. The Western doctrine have made about as much impression there has have the Eastern doctrine here. Perhaps not so much. That is, among the higher thinkers of the country, the effect of the missionary work among the masses is imperceptible. Imperceptible. When converts are made, they of course drop at once out of the native sect. But the mass of the population is so great that the convert of the missionaries have very little effect that can be seen. The yogis are jugglers. When asked whether he knew anything of the alleged alleged miraculous performance of the yogis and adept, Mr. Vivekanand replied that he was not interested in the miracles, and that while there were, of course, a great many clever jugglers in the country, for their performance were ticked, ticks, tricks. Mr. Vivekanand said that he had seen the mango trick but once, and then by a fakir on the small scale. He held the same view about the alleged attainment of the lammas. There is a great lack of trained, scientific, and unprejudiced observers in all accounts of this phenomena, said he, so that it is hard to select the false from the truth. Next, the Hindu view of life, published in Brooklyn Times, December 31st, 1894. The Brooklyn Ethical Association at the Pouch Gallery last night tendered a reception to Swami Vivekanand. Previous to the reception, the distinguished visitor delivered a remarkable, interesting lecture on the religion of India. Among other things, he said, the Hindu's view of life is that we are here to learn. The whole happiness of life is to learn. The human soul is here to love learning and get experience. I am able to read my Bible better by your Bible, and you will learn to read your Bible the better by my Bible. If there is but one religion to be true, all the rest must be true. The same truth has manifested itself in different forms, and the forms are according to the different circumstances of the physical and mental nature of the different nations. If matter and its transformation answer for all that we have, there is no necessity for supposing the existence of the soul. But it can not be proved that thought has been evolved out of matter. We cannot deny that bodies inherit certain tendencies, but those tendencies only mean the physical configuration through which a peculiar mind alone can act in a peculiar way. These peculiar tendencies in that soul have been caused by past actions. A soul with a certain tendencies will take birth in the body which is the fittest instrument for the display of the tendency by the laws of affinity, and this is in perfect accord with science, for science wants to explain everything by habit, and the habit is not through repetitions. So, these repetitions are also necessary to explain the natural habits of a newborn soul. They were not got in the present life, therefore they must have come down from the past life. All religions are so many stages. Each one of them represents a stage through which the human soul passes to realize God. Therefore, not one of them should be neglected. None of the stages are dangerous or bad. They are good. Just as a child becomes a young man and a young man becomes an old man, so they are traveling from truth to truth. They become dangerous only when they become rigid and will not move further when he ceases to grow. If the child refuses to become an old man, then he is diseased. But if they steadily grow and each step will lead them onward until they reach the whole truth. Therefore, we believe in both a personal and impersonal God. And at the same time, we believe in all the religions that were, all the religions that are, and all the religion that will be in the world. We also believe we ought not only this religion, only tolerate this religion, but to accept them. In the material physical world, expansion is life and contraction is death. Whatever ceases to expand, ceases to contract, ceases to live. Translation, translating this in the moral world we have, if one would expand, he must love, and when he ceases to love, he dies. It is your nature. You must, because that is the only law of life. Therefore, we must love God for love's sake. So we must do our duty for duty's sake. We must work for work's sake without looking for any reward. Know that you are pure and more perfect. Know that this is the real temple of God. Brooklyn Daily Eagle, December 31st, 1894. After referring to the views of Mohammedans, the Buddhist, and the other religions school of India, the speaker said that the Hindus received their religion through the revelation of the Vedas, who teach that creation is without beginning and without end. They teach that man is a spirit living in the body. The body will die, but the man will not. The spirit will go on living. The soul was not created from nothing from the creation, for the creation means a combination, and that means a certain future dissolution. If then the soul was created, it must die. Therefore, it was not created. He might be asked how it is that we do not remember anything of our past life. This could be easily explained. Consciousness is a name only on the surface of the mental ocean, and within its depth are stored up all our experiences. The desire was to find out something that was stable. The mind, the body, all nature, in fact, in changing. This question of finding something that was infinite had long been discussed. One school, of which the modern Buddhists are the representative, teach that everything that could not be solved by the five senses was non existent, that every object is dependent upon all others, that it is delusion that man is an independent entity. The idealist, on the other hand, claimed that each individual is an independent body. The true solution of this problem is that nature is a mixture of dependence and independence, of reality and idealism. There is a dependence which is proved by the fact that the movement of our bodies are controlled by our mind, and our mind are controlled by our spirit within us, which Christians call the soul. That is but a change. Those who have passed beyond and are occupying high positions there are but the same as those who remain here, and those who are occupying lower positions there are the same as others here. Every human being is a perfect being. If we sit down in the dark and lament that it is so dark, it will profit us nothing. But if we procure matches and strike a light, the darkness goes out immediately. So if we sit down and lament that our body are imperfect, that our soul are imperfect, we are not profited. When we call in the light of reason, then the darkness of doubt will disappear. The object of life is to learn. The Christian can learn from the Hindus, and Hindus from the Christian. He could read his Bible better after reading ours. Tell your children, he said, that religion is a positive something and not a negative something. It is not a teaching of a man, but a growth, a development of something higher within our nature that seeks outlet. Every child born into the world is born with a certain accumulated experiences. The idea of the independence which possesses us shows that is something in us beside mind and body. The body and mind are dependent. The soul that animates us is an independent factor that creates this wish for freedom. If we are not free, how can we hope to make the world good or perfect? We hold that we are makers of ourselves, that what we have, we make ourselves. We have made it, and we can unmake it. We believe in God, the Father of us all, the Creator, and the Preserver of His children, omnipresent and omnipotent. We believe in the personal God, as you do. But we go further. We believe that we are He. We believe in all the religions that have gone before, in all that now exist, and in all that are to come. The Hindu bows down to all religions, for in this world the idea is addition, not subtraction. We would make up a bouquet of all beautiful colors for God, the Creator, who is the personal God. We must love God for love's sake. We must do our duty to Him for duty's sake, and must work for Him for work's sake, and must worship Him for worship's sake. Books are good, but they are only maps. Reading a book by direction of a man, I read that so many inches of rain fell during the year. Then he told me to take the book and squeeze it between my hands. I did so, and not a drop of water came from it. It was the idea only that the book conveyed. So we can get good from a book, from the temple, from the church, from anything, so long as it leads us onward and upward. Sacrifices and genuflection, rumbling and muttering are not religion. They are all good if they help us to come to a perception of the perfection. Come to the perception of the perfection which we shall realize when we come face to face with Christ. These are words or instruments to us by which we may profit. Columbus may, when he discovered this continent, went back and told his countrymen that he had found a new world. They would not believe him, or some would not, and he told them to go and search for themselves. So with us, we read this truth and come in and find the truth for ourselves, and then we have a belief which no one can take from us. After a lecture, an appointment was given those present to question the speaker on any point on which they wish to have his view. Many of them availed themselves of these offers.